You have 57 members of the Buffalo Emergency Response Team who've resigned from that unit in the height of cowardice. They actually haven't resigned from the police force, so they don't lose their paychecks. They've just resigned from their unit because two of their fellow officers were suspended for knocking down a 75-year-old man and seriously injuring him. So there are a lot of police in this country who are just on the wrong side of history right now.
It's true. And frankly, one of the things that we know is that this is why tinkering with what exists doesn't work. Frankly, the activists and the organizers and the folks who are in the streets right now are not just asking for reforms. Reforms are important, but ultimately you need people to oversee those reforms and implement them. And time again, what we see in states across the country is that these kinds of laws will be passed, no chokeholds, no this or that. But yet there's not a way to implement them. And so the protesters in the streets right now are actually calling for us to change the way that we distribute our resources. Frankly, our budgets from cities all the way up to Congress are bloated in relationship to punishment, in relationship to policing. And that needs to change. The only way to avoid the kinds of cases that we see in the case of Breonna Floyd, in the case of Breonna Taylor, in the case of George Floyd, in the case of so many names that we now have a CVS long list of people who have died at the hands of the police, not just by guns, right? But people who have been beaten, people who are tortured in jails. The only way for us to address this is to limit the scope, the scale, and the role of police in order to change the role that policing is playing in this country right now.